Do a barrel roll.
Welcome to The Know. I'm Brian.
I'm Ben.
There has been a lot of talk about Fallout 76 ever since it was announced earlier this year. Huge hype. I'm hyped.
Yeah, I'm excited
Let's
for
do
it. Fallout is one of the biggest franchises in video games, and fans were stoked to hear about the latest entry that's coming out later this year. But we still didn't know a lot about Fallout 76 until now.
Yeah, like what kind of a game is it? What do you do? Is there a story? But they really dug into it over the weekend at a panel at QuakeCon where the leads working on the game shed a lot more light into what it'll look like. They also answered some questions about some of the biggest parts of the game, namely PvP and how you'll be able to kind of customize your character.
The QuakeCon panel included game director Todd Howard, project lead Jeff Gardner, and development director Chris Mayer.
Yeah, so these are the big guns talking. They know what's in the game, and they did help clear up some misconceptions about what we can expect once the game launches in November.
And fans have had a lot of questions, so let's dig into everything that they said.
Dig.
First off, obviously, the game is online, which is one of the biggest features separating Fallout 76 from previous Fallout games.
Yes, Todd Howard put it, every character in the game is an actual human playing Fallout 76 with you. There aren't any NPCs that tell you a story. You're building your own atmosphere and creating your own lore based on what you do in the game, and I guess what others do to you.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Then they talked about a lot about the perk system in the game, which is how you'll give your character special abilities. And the way you'll get perks is through a card system, but
Oh no.
don't freak out.
Oh.
It's not pay to win. These perk cards won't cost any real money.
Okay. Yeah, the special character attribute system will be returning from past Fallout games. That's strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. And you'll get character points that you can trade in for perk cards.
And they showed off some of those cards. One was a perk called Gladiator that is like under the strength characteristic.
Okay.
It boosts your damage done by one-handed melee weapons. And there was a perk called First Aid, which makes stimpaks more effective. And one called Marathoner, which lets you sprint while consuming fewer activity points. So it kind of sounds like the generic like Fallout
sure.
style.
Yeah, you can equip those perk cards under each one of the special attributes. You can also combine similar perk cards to make a more powerful one. And like I said, you play each one under each attribute, but it's based on how many points you have for each attributes that decides how many perk cards you can fit in there.
Sounds cool so far. Perks also come in card packs that you get every few levels, but like we said, they won't cost any money. We're not going to have the Hearthstone problem of dumping money into packs and getting random cards out. So that's at least a relief that it's not another money dump that I have to worry about.
My butthole's still clenching when I hear card packs. There are also mutations in the game, which can change your character's DNA. One example in the video showed your Vault Dweller morphing into a gun-wielding kangaroo.
All right, I'm in. This sounds awesome. Yeah, and each mutation will have its own strengths and weaknesses. Another panelist talked about getting a bird mutation that let him jump extra high, but it also reduces his strength, so he wasn't able to carry as much stuff, which, this sounds awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so now let's talk about PvP, big part of Fallout 76. There have been a lot of questions about this because, as Todd Howard put it, we want this element of danger without griefing.
That's going to be an interesting problem for them. How do you do that? Well, Howard tried to explain it. It sounds like you'll be able to go up and shoot whoever you want in the game, but Howard said the initial shot will only do a small amount of damage.
Yeah, he compared it to going up to someone in a bar and slapping them, which shooting is a little bit different than slapping. I don't know what kind of bars Todd Howard hangs out in, but it sounds fun.
Okay, well then the other player, the slappee, can decide if they want to engage in combat, and then it's on. It almost sounded like a dueling system where both players have to opt in.
Kinda, but not quite, because even if one player doesn't want to engage, that slappee, if they run away, the other player can choose to keep going and kill them.
Okay, so it sounds like there might still be griefing.
Yeah.
But there's a cost to
Right.
that, because if you kill a fleeing player who didn't want to engage, then you're branded a wanted murderer, and that's a big no-no. You get no reward from killing the other player, and then the game puts a bounty on your head that comes out of your own caps. So it sounds like you paint a target on your back.
Yeah, well, and it's like a literal target because you're highlighted on the map with a red star, so then other players can see you. It's basically open season on your ass.
Okay, I'm down. So it sounds like that's how they plan on stopping players from griefing each other. On some level, it looks like they're probably trying to rely on the community to police itself, but
What could go wrong?
game's helping a little bit. Yeah. And while you'll be able to grief another player, they're trying to make the punishment for doing that as harsh as possible.
Oh, and you can't PvP people until they're level 5, so you are safe at those real low levels.
Okay. And if you want to fight a higher level player, you can do that. And it sounds like they've tried to reduce that gear advantage at least a little bit. The higher level and better geared player will still have an advantage, but not as much as when they're fighting a random creature in the world. So there's a little bit of like balancing
Just to make things
levels.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Crucible and Destiny a little bit.
Cool.
But Still, it doesn't sound like it's a good idea to go challenging a bunch of players who are much higher than you.
And while they're talking death, there is a penalty for dying in the game. It doesn't sound super steep, but at least there's one.
Bethesda said if you die, you drop your junk, which is the game's term for materials that you can use to upgrade your gear, but you keep your guns and armor.
Interesting. The panelists also talked about using nukes, which is another feature of the game. You'll be able to nuke other players' camps, which will completely destroy the structures that they've created.
Sweet. But to avoid wasting hours and hours of your hard work, they've also created a system that lets you make a blueprint of your camp. That will make it easier to replace it and sort of build it back up again if it gets destroyed. They didn't show any footage of the blueprint system in action, but really sounded like an interesting idea.
All in all, it definitely sounds like they're trying to ride that line between giving players a fun PvP experience without letting griefers just run wild and constantly feast on lower level players.
So we'll see how it works out. The game's beta is set to unveil in October, and the big release for the game, November 14th. So what did you guys think of Bethesda's presentation on Fallout 76? What do you think of the PvP system? Do you like bar fights? Let us know in the comments.
I'm excited to walk up and just be able to slap somebody.
Yeah, like a little glove.
Yeah. For all of your Fallout 76 news, like this video, and if you're new around here, subscribe to the Know.
So one example in the video showed your Pip-Boy morphing into this gun-wielding kangaroo.
Okay, now I'm definitely in.
Yeah.
And each mutation will also have...
Not Pip-Boy. Pip-Boy is your...
Fuck, thank you.
Vault
Vault Boy.
Vault Boy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I saw we got a lot
You
of
should
flack
probably
about
just call
aliens
your
in the last
vault-
Doom
You
video.
should probably call it your Vault Dweller.
Yeah, okay.